There we go. Well, let's get these Facebook folks up in here. For it's officially time to start the show on this Thursday morning. All
breakfast
right.
for breakfast with the Broncos and a tune as well. Very nice.
Broncos for breakfast on Broadway coming to you here. Now, welcome in, guys. It is 6:34 a.m. where I am at. Probably 7:34 where a lot of you folks are at. But this is obviously a podcast that is well beyond Broncos country. Broncos country isn't just the Mountain Time Zone. It's everywhere. It's what is it? 9:34 over there in Atlanta. Scott, how you doing over on the East Coast?
Yeah, and it's dark because it's stormy, so it's like
Mm.
it almost looks like nighttime outside. I can't really even see at my window, and I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, so the sun's never come up. So my body clock is way off. You could tell me it was, hey, I'm guessing on Mile High Insiders. Oh, okay, here we are. Great, glad to have it.
Where are you at on your coffee? That's the real question.
I had it at 7:30, so I
Okay.
was like, you know what? I might go double cup this morning, but this is actually water, so I'm faking it. So I got my
Okay.
mug, but I'm already 20 ounces into the coffee this morning to kickstart my day.
Natalie, my wife, likes to do the cold brew in the summertime. She likes to think it's a little better for the palate. She's a very seasonal type of person, like cold drinks in the winter, hot drinks in this, or
She'd hate
cold drinks.
California. There's no
Yeah,
seasons in LA. She'd hate it.
no, she kind of misses sometimes the fall, the Midwest fall compared to
Mhm.
what we have out here. But it's like always fall here in the summer. It's great, in my opinion, how it feels. But no, definitely. So I've been drinking about that half pot life, which is got me wired in the morning. I probably should cut back a little bit, but I'm tired, so it helps a lot. But yeah, welcome in, guys. Of course, let's say hello to some folks in the chat. We got Ethan saying, "Good afternoon, Jensen Broncos country," talking about the different time zones here. Ethan
Mhm.
out there in London. Hope everything is starting to cool down out there. It's God miserable time it looks like, but hope you're doing well. Dale, of course, Dale Fleming. Dale, I feel like I haven't seen Dale on the night shows recently. Dale, good to see you here in the morning. Says, "Good afternoon, Ethan, and good morning, Nick, Scott, and Broncos country." Good morning to you, Dale. Hope you're doing well. And Dale coming in, just kicking us off here with a little appetizer about our conversation today, or some coffee, as I like to do sometimes. I'm guessing the Denver Broncos players aren't being rated quite as high as they should be, but probably not just Broncos players. Uh, have you looked at any of the other ratings here, Scott, or what do you think?
I haven't, but I've told you there's a few universal truths in sports fandom. The refs are out to get us. The media is out to get us. Our players are overranked, and everybody's biased towards our rival.
Underranked, but yes,
Yeah,
100%.
everybody. Yeah, ours are underranked. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Those are universal truths. So when I see that on here and I see guys, start to talk about it, I kind of roll my eyes and let it gloss over. I'm like, you sound just like everyone else. The media, the announcers are biased. God, could they be any more biased against us? Universal truth for every single team. You're not special.
Yeah, I will
And
say,
Dale says that. Probably not just our players that
yeah,
are thinking they're not rated as high as they should be.
I will say for the Madden ratings specifically, and this is just kind of a truth of who they are. Once a guy kind of makes it, even if their play has dropped off a lot, they will hold on to that ranking. So because the Broncos haven't arrived yet, a lot of their players are ranked pretty low. But just kind of a touch on it, really good players still. But they have Tyrann Mathieu ranked significantly as the best safety in football. No, he's and they don't even have Minka Fitzpatrick ranked in the top 10 of their safeties. And we just saw you guys have probably seen it. ESPN released a top 10 list of position ranked on, voted on by executives, scouts, coaches, and players. Much better list than what Madden is putting out there for the rankings. And
They
they really tend
they
to
are
love those.
slow to move
Yes.
guys down, and they're slow to move them up.
Yep.
And then, like you said, once they're there, so you see some guys, especially that second year leap. If you've
Yeah.
got a guy who's like a 75 but played it an 85, well, he'll probably be an 83 the next year.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that are coming off that should be coming down that are declining rapidly. They're still ahead just because they haven't balanced them out just yet.
Yep. Those are the guys that I always, when I played Madden back in my days of more video game playing, you'd sign why is this a veteran that's in his 11th year in the league rated as an 88 in free agency? It's because he's not an 88 anymore, but Madden's still giving him the props there. So 1 year contract. Yep. We're going to fill our roster with a bunch of these guys and fill some holes. So let's keep saying hello to some folks in here. Jeremy Sean. Jeremy, want to once again say thank you for swinging by iTunes and leaving us a 5-star rating. Helps a lot. A lot of good Broncos media outlets, Broncos podcast, live streams out there. But you going down there and leaving us a very nice review helps a lot. So really wanted to give you a shout out for that. We appreciate that. EJ, good morning to you, EJ. He says, good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Good to see you, EJ. And Dale getting into the music this morning. It's pre-Friday. We can talk a little music. Saying he's going to be at the Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Joan Jett concert today. Man, that sounds like a good time. I saw Motley Crue live back in, it would have been 2011, 2012. And I saw Metallica live around then as well. No,
it doesn't count. You didn't see Motley Crue.
No,
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's okay. It was a good
time.
I'm
just teasing. I saw Poison twice, and I saw Motley Crue twice when I was in high school. I saw I was late. I wish I'd been in on the Shout at the Devil tour, but I saw Girls, 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 and Dr. Feelgood, and then Poison. As goofy as they were, and the epitome of the lipstick glamour rock hair bands, Ricky Rocket and CeCe DeVille at the time had the best drum solo and guitar solo, respectively, that I'd ever seen.
That's awesome.
Like, these guys are goofy and they're a cliche. Those boys could play. I was like, oh my God. Then I saw Steve Vai with Whitesnake, and I'm like, yeah, forget all that. So he was a virtuoso, because I never got to see Van Halen, who was my, Eddie Van Halen blew my mind, changed my life. Eddie Van Halen changed my life and how I listen to music, but I never got to see Van Halen live. But I saw a couple of those live back in the 90s, and it was definitely a good time, Dale. So have fun.
Yeah, have a good time. And also said it was for his birthday. His cousin got him tickets for his birthday. So happy birthday. Most fun hair band I ever saw. And this would have been well after their prime, but Twisted Sister. Really good time at Outside Concert.
I bet Dee Snider put on a good show.
It was really fun. We also got Toyin Williams coming in here saying, good morning, afternoon, Broncos country. Good to see you, Toyin. We also got, of course, Luke Wright. Luke, you were over on Twitch the other day. Good to have you back on YouTube, saying good morning, Nick and Scott. Great to see you. Jeremy Bales, good morning to you, Jeremy. And, of course, Mark Schrader. Good to see you, Mark. Hope you're doing well. He says good morning. Hopefully you're not a puddle of goo at this point with how hot it's been in the United States. I'm guessing you are going to be struggling down there in Texas. How's it been in Atlanta? Has it been okay? Is that storm?
It's been cool now because it's pouring down rain. So if you pull up the radar, you might hear some of this. My windows rattling and the storm over my head. It'll match kind of the dark background of I know that's a sunset going down over Mile High Stadium there, but that's about what the sky looks like right now where I am. It's making some noise.
Nice. Well, I do miss a good storm, but that's okay. And we got Cleats 2K coming in, talking about sports video games. It sounds like a soccer, what are the Sega versions or whatever they were, saying Madden sucks anyway. And then he says the best football game was 2K. I absolutely played so many hours of 2K. I think it was 5. Whatever one that had Terrell Owens on it was amazing. And also they had the NFL cribs that you could have. Yeah, I hear that as well. And I really enjoyed it. I played hours of the video game paper football. How stupid, but it got so much fun, man. No care in the world.
Sometimes the KISS philosophy, speaking of bands, the keep it simple, stupid. Angry Birds. Sometimes, I see my son's playing this game right now that looks like a 16-bit version of Super Mario, but it's fun. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. If you can't pick it up and play it, it needs to be easy. The access needs to be pretty easy. The learning curve to get started. Now you level up and do all those kind of things. Anyway,
absolutely.
But games, I played. I don't know. I think my first Madden was 92. Was the 92 Madden? So it's been around a while.
Yeah. God bless Madden for introducing the game, making it accessible to a whole new generation of players. And also, really, I would say that the Madden generation, because of, calling plays and designs and everything like that, really kind of just upped the level of what was known and understood for the game. In my opinion, obviously, there's a lot of people who are Dunning-Kruger out there because they played Madden and think they understand everything. Maybe sometimes that's me, but definitely a really unique way how it's introduced the game. So fun to talk about Madden today.
That said, you've heard me mention that 2003 Auburn Tigers team and how it changed how I watch college football. I was like, you know what? I'm miserable when they win. I'm not happy when they win. They were third in the country and took 3 games to score a touchdown with new play callers. And I'm not happy when they win. I'm miserable when they lose. I need a new hobby. So I didn't watch a single game of the 2004 undefeated season, but I was like, at that time, I would rather, because they're starting with online playing. Give me the top 5 guys that play NCAA football, their best rankings. I'll draw a name out of a hat. I'd rather have him calling plays than what we've got right now. When you've got Cadillac Williams, you got 2 first-rounders, you got Ronnie Brown, Jason Campbell. Team was freaking loaded, and it took them 3 games to score a touchdown. New offensive coordinator come in, they went 14-0 the next year. Yes, thank you.
There it is. Absolutely.
Coaching matters. It does.
Yeah, it really does. I also remember back in the day, it's like 11 p.m. at night, and they had like the Madden video game players streaming on ESPN2. Not streaming, but they had the tournaments and whatnot. A lot of fun. EJ coming in saying winning earns you respect, and the Broncos have not done much winning in the last 6 years. That's another thing about the rankings here, and let's get into that a little bit. The Broncos overall team rating here, not very good, Scott. The Broncos rated here 78 overall. Not ideal. Not what you want for your team ratings. Hopefully the Broncos by the end of the year will be closer to an 83, 84. We'll see. But 78 puts this team, I would say, probably the way Madden is ranking it, about a 500 squad.
Which is where we've seen a lot of predictions, honestly. When we're talking rosters, we've seen 14. We've seen 15 for overall rosters. I sent you an email with a link from Bill Barnwell today. He was going through the weapons around the quarterback, ranking the skill players, basically, sans quarterback. Mm-hmm. And he's got the Broncos at 14. But, he also goes in and says, this is a show me team. This is a Missouri team. This is, we think, this is what we have heard. This is what we think can happen with the right quarterback coming in. And if it happens, all of these guys are going to get the upgrades they deserve, but they haven't necessarily proven it. Cortland Sutton had a big year, got hurt. So he hasn't been able to continue. You say it all the time. Progression isn't linear. There's not a linear progression. There's been a dip in his progression. Jerry Jeudy has shown flashes, but hasn't quite been there yet. So, that said, some of the defensive numbers look a little off too, but I expect the offensive numbers in Russell Wilson, including Russell Wilson, to have a big bounce back year. They're going to put up some numbers this year, and the corresponding media blather, including Madden, will follow. Because as EJ says, winning in production, haven't done it, hasn't been there.
No, they haven't. And just pulling it up real quick while Scott was at it here. I can't find it. Okay, well, Denver Broncos, Madden 23 roster, 78 overall. Tried to pull it up for the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders. Maybe we'll get back to that as well. But let's keep saying hello to the chat here, coming in here. Dale saying, missed a couple nights, one because of power outage, last night because I was just having a hard time, didn't feel like being sociable. Well, Dale, that is okay. I'm sorry I teased you about it. You take as much time as you need. And we got Donnie Wentz coming in here saying, I think Russell Wilson should be a 92 or 94, not an 89. So there we go, Scott. Our first rating that will, I guess it's easy to find online, but our first one that we'll talk about here, Russell Wilson coming in at 89 overall and the second highest rated Bronco. Your thoughts on that 89?
Well, again, I'd probably have to pull out the position rankings overall. See, it's best role by position, and if I look at quarterback, because it's got to be relative to me. Quarterback, QB quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is a 97, Tom Brady's a 97, Mahomes is a 97, and then it drops to Dak Prescott at 91, Lamar Jackson 90, Russell Wilson at 89. So Russell Wilson as the 6th highest quarterback in the NFL, okay, I can live with that. Yeah. I think that's very respectful considering, you didn't have a huge season last year. I don't think that's disrespect at all. Is there a roughly 10% drop down from Mahomes and Brady and Rodgers to Russell Wilson? Probably not. Yeah. But I kind of say it like this. You've heard me say before, Nick, I don't necessarily argue levels of elite. Russell Wilson should no longer be the reason why your quarterback is good enough that he's not the reason why you're not winning. Yeah. Right. So, there's different levels. Josh Allen, when Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, when they get hot, but Russell Wilson's capable of doing that as well. Yeah. So when you start going, okay, how are we going to win a Super Bowl? And you start trying to find the weakest link, the chinks in the armor, quarterback's not it. you've got a
Yeah.
championship level quarterback. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna typically argue a point here, a point there. He should be, he should have gotten 3 more points. Whatever. He's sixth. I think that's fair. I
Yeah.
do. I think that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it when we went through, was it last week? I don't even remember. I was in this room recording it, so it must have been last week. But talking about how Russell Wilson probably deservedly so not a tier 1 quarterback anymore, not in the same air as Patrick Patrick Mahomes. Coughing if when I say it because it's sacrilegious. I'm sorry, guys. I guess it's just my opinion. But Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen. I think those guys make up tier 1 pretty easily. And after that, you have a hodgepodge of, I would say, tier 2, which is Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. And if Wilson can go from tier 2 to tier 1, then you're talking about that 92 to 94. But I think 89 is fair.
And looking at this, knowing that you've got Josh Allen tied with Ryan Tannehill and behind Kyler Murray, I'd have a bigger problem with that.
Absolutely.
That one would, I'd have a bigger problem with that. You know what I don't have a problem with? It's Gregory Vandeland coming in hot, coming in with the fuchsia. Been a July firecracker, superstar Gregory Vandeland. So appreciate all the support you have showed, my friend. We've already got a silent one. But I don't think Greg's been totally silent. I don't think Gregory's been totally silent, has weighed in. But, anytime, man, hit the chat. Let us know what's on your mind because you've certainly supported us. And it just another way of us saying thank you. So we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Helping get some hiking gas for me this summer. Thank you so much, Greg. Tashi, I believe the name. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Let us know if we're wrong. He says, "Good afternoon, fellas." So coming from somewhere across the pond, not in the USA. So awesome. I'd really love to see our international people. That's one of the coolest things about this morning show is that we're more accessible for those people in different time zones, not in the US. So that's been one of my favorite parts. Made some friends on here with that. So that's pretty great. Bama X coming in saying, "Good morning, Broncos country. Good to see you." Sunny Day saying, "Good morning, Broncos country. Hope all is well." And as he says, guys, smash that like button on the way in. And Jake Gerard talking classic video games. Don't get Scott started. He's going to be talking his NHL video game here pretty soon.
95 NHL EA Sports 95 hockey. If there was, and I'll be done with this. If there was online gaming, I could have gone pro in that one. I was good at that one. I don't talk about a lot of other stuff. I was good at that game.
Yeah, you might be underselling yourself.
I spent more time doing that obviously than school.
Yeah. Yep. Jake Gerard coming in. NFL Blitz 60 on 64 and GoldenEye classics. For 64 for me, and I didn't pick it up until college, but the original Smash Brothers, I was in a fraternity and there was kind of I guess we'll call it hazing, but the pledges had to get everybody's signatures in the fraternity in every week. And I made them have to beat me in Super Smash Brothers. Nobody got my signature. Eventually I'd cave in because I was nice, but they wouldn't do it. They couldn't beat me. I was Donkey Kong. He's a tank. Too much. Michael Ronquillo coming in saying, "Good morning, Nick and Scott on Broncos for breakfast. Let's ride and go Broncos. Good to see you." And Dave giving us the good news here saying Facebook notifications working again for now. Let's hope it stays good. We'll see. We got Chris Jenkins in here saying, "Morning, family. Hope everyone is surviving the heat." Heat's coming for me next week. So keep me in your thoughts on that one. It's going to get up to bordering on 100 degrees here, which it's only been 100 degrees in Seattle, I think 3 times in history. So good luck.
We do when I hit refresh, Michael Ranquillo just showed back up for me in Facebook. So appreciate Michael coming in. And again, I keep an eye. I dual screen. I keep the Facebook stream live on the Mile High Huddle page. And Michael hasn't been showing up for me. I'm like, all right, is he on one of the other 3? We've got 3 streams on Facebook going on this. So good to see you in here, which I've always seen you in here when I'm looking at our back end feed. But I hadn't seen you on Facebook. So good to see you in here, Michael. Welcome and good morning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. Good to see you. I'll say hello to Chris Jenkins. Okay, so Scott, I was able to find the other team rankings, and they are the other teams are pretty closely scored together. Broncos are significantly worse. So Madden is selling all stocks on the Denver Broncos, saying that they are going to be the obvious last place team in this division. So I'm going to play. This is everyone's favorite game. Scott, guess the thing that you have no idea about. But we have the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Raiders being rated here. What do you think? So the Broncos are 78, and I already give you the information that both of these 3 teams are a tier above the Broncos. Right. What are you thinking?
So I would say Chiefs are probably first. In an 85-ish.
Perfect. Ding, ding, nailed it.
Okay. And then I would probably go Chargers next at 83, and
Perfect.
then Raiders at 80.
82 for the Raiders.
Okay.
But you nailed it with the Chiefs 85 and the Chargers 83, Raiders 82, and then the Broncos at the lowly 78. So Madden really,
That's an outlier. Yep, that
yeah.
is an outlier.
So again, maybe everybody says that people underrate their teams. It kind of looks like compared to what Vegas is saying about these teams, and which I would trust Vegas with where they think these teams are going to fall more than what Madden's overall ranking is. But they are not a big fan of what the Denver Broncos are overall. And we can kind of dig into that a little bit more with this roster. What is, because the 78 is a formula. So it's because of the overall player ratings that leads to that 78. But Kevin Gray coming in saying, morning, fellows, Scott and Nick, 6 days to camp. And then we find out who's real and who's not. Love camp. I love camp as well. The issue with me for camp is that a lot of the stuff is unseen and not repeatably watched. That's one great thing about preseason. It's a little bit of a bummer with the main players not playing it as much, is that, you'd have your tape where you could watch it over and over again, especially for the trench play. You really want to focus on those guys individually, and it's really hard to do the first time you're watching the game. But we're definitely going to get some buzz on it. Just always remember with camp, it's a little bit of hearsay and a little bit of the Denver Broncos sometimes can kind of lead some of those narratives.
Well, and then who's real and who's not? Give me 6 weeks. 6 weeks into the season. The Broncos were 3-0 last year, but still unproven. And frankly, the schedule's kind of soft to start this year, which is good. I don't think that's a good thing, but I don't think everybody's going to be just jumping on the Broncos bandwagon right away. We'll wait. There'll be a little bit of wait and see, but I like camp, but again, it's internal. A lot of times as Nick was saying, the coaches will feature who needs to be featured. We just got a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. We want them to click. So we're going to dial back the defense a little bit when they go back. We're not going to blitz. We're not going to do that. We're going to let them get their footing before we attack them all out on defense. Oh, the offense looked great. Yeah, it's simulated. Yeah. So again, until you start getting people that are trying to stop you, you're not really sure what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Scott, maybe Broncos country does have a right to gripe here. The Broncos that are 78, Atlanta is at a 77.
That tells you all you need to know about what they think of the Broncos. Wow, I hadn't even looked at that, Ethan. That's the Broncos roster. Let's see who starts for the Broncos. Chris Lindstrom at guard, Kyle Pitts at tight end, AJ Terrell at corner.
Okay, Grady Jarrett.
And Grady Jarrett at one of the other defensive line spots opposite Draymond Jones.
Maybe you could say Troy Anderson as well, just because it's a question mark, but it's Jonas Griffith otherwise.
Yeah, but not for this. Not for Madden rankings. And Troy Anderson might not start for the Falcons.
Yeah.
He's got to beat out Rashaan Evans. So what did I say? Four players. 4 players start for the Falcons on the Denver Broncos. I'm pretty familiar with both teams on this one.
Yeah.
And I might be biased, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Maybe one more here. Hennison at center might be better than Lloyd Cushenberry.
He's okay, but that's not a definite. That's a toss up, so I wouldn't, I always think kind of the boxing mentality, when you're doing judging, you got to beat the champ. So if I'm moving him over, I might say, okay, I'll take Hennessy over. I'm not taking Cushenberry over Hennessy for the Falcons, but I wouldn't do it the other way either. It's a wash.
Yep. And real quick, going to touch on Josh Mays here, saying he's a nonprofit wants us to be a part of. You're going to need to talk to Chad Jensen for that. Maybe email us because that's definitely something with over my pay grade to say yes or no. But I can't say for myself no, because August 20th, I'm going to be 20-ish miles into the backcountry in the North Cascades, climbing up to a glacier. So I will not be available, but make sure that you are reaching out to Chad Jensen on Twitter. I think that's probably the best place. Saying
milehighhuddle@gmail.com.
Yep. So good for you, man, on the nonprofit program there. We appreciate it. And Mark Schrader coming in saying 600 stars for each time I've seen VH Scott.
So he got to see Van Halen twice. I'm a little jealous, and he's already come in twice. Tip of the cup to you, Nick and Scott. We won't get the respect until we start winning again. Go Broncos and let's ride. Yeah, it's hard to talk about disrespect when you haven't made the playoffs in 6-7 years in a while. It hasn't been that long for me covering the Broncos. So, I think I've heard six seasons. It's hard to complain about we're being disrespected. It really is. And what we see is the potential for a meteoric rise. I'd like to say, get out ahead of the curve, do a little bit more homework and find out, hey, this Cortland Sutton guy, he's really good. Jerry Jeudy, he's pretty good. And now they've got the quarterback that's an 89. They're going to get showcased a little more, So, I like to think get out a little bit ahead of the curve. But overall, and the flip side of that, though, is, what have the Chargers done to be ranked, significantly higher? And God, what have the Falcons done, for God's sakes? And I don't care if, let me see where we go. Oh, here it was. Ethan says they're still counting Calvin Ridley's 86, so keep that in mind. Yeah, but shame on them for that. Jesus, what did he do last year?
Yeah,
He played 5 games and quit. Is there a competitive score on there? Something like that. And he's suspended. He's suspended for a year. What's he even doing on the roster?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And something also about the Raiders here, they have Richie Incognito at an 89. That would drop them maybe a little bit. Richie Incognito just retired, so not up to date yet on that. We got Colby C. Collier coming in here, saying the season will be here before we know it, and we'll forget all about this when we actually have an offense. Absolutely, but for now, it's fun to scream into the void.
Yep, and thanks for the stars, Triple C.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep, Colby, appreciate the stars on that one.
Benjamin Flores also saying, good morning, rise and grind, and go Broncos. Have a great day, and glad I made the morning show. We're glad you made it too. And Chris Hernandez always coming into the support as well, saying morning with the orange and blue heart. We appreciate you, Chris. So
and the
let's
gold stars too, Chris. So thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate you. Moving along here, Broncos #1 rated player, but I think he was only the 6th highest rated player at his position, despite what the NFL thinks, actual people in the NFL. Justin Simmons coming in at a 91 overall. Good ranking. I'd probably have him up at closer to a 94, 95 personally, but that's just me probably being biased, too close to the situation. And Russell Wilson's 91 overall puts him at, according to Madden's top 100 here, the 50th best player in the entire league. So 91 overall, Justin Simmons. I'm excited to see what he does this year. I think it's going to be a great season for Justin Simmons.
And they do break up free safety versus strong safety and have him as the number 2 behind Kevin Byard.
Kevin Byard, who is incredible in his own right. Yeah, I love Kevin Byard. Amazing safety for the Titans.
He's toiling away. Actually, Tennessee. Sometimes I get the Texans and Tennessee confused because I still link those in my mind to the old Houston Oilers. That sounds weird now, considering, in 10 years how electric we'll be. Oilers. Yeah. What are the Oilers? Not that petroleum's going anywhere, but it's just
shifting.
It's definitely shifting. Okay, yeah. Number two safety. Not too bad. Not too bad on that one. I think of the safeties, and not to steal your thunder on this one, but the one that surprises me probably more is the 8th ranked player on the Denver Broncos is Kareem Jackson.
Yep.
If you're playing a game tomorrow and, forget necessarily positional value, but just football players, who's good and who's not. And I've got a game tomorrow and I'm just playing one game. So I'm not thinking about age on this one. I'm thinking about score. I'm thinking about talent. How long before you get to Kareem Jackson?
17
18. Picks?
Yeah. Yep, probably about that. And this again comes back to the Madden really loves the guys who are closest to qualifying for AARP. If you've been in the league a while, they are going to give you extra respect to the point where it probably isn't reality of the situation. But you have skins on the wall, so to speak, and they're going to give you some credit for that.
Yeah, again, it's as you say, it's hard for them to move down. And I don't know, they don't want to be disrespectful in that regard. It's like, we've paid for your likeness, we've been using your likeness for this long, or we don't want to take you from an 88 to a 78 in one season. That's too big a drop off. And then also, don't they do midseason upgrades and midseason changes and stuff too?
I would say I haven't played Madden like that for a while, but I think it's like every 2 or 4 games they'd have like slight adjustments as well. And by the end of the season, I think these grades are typically a little bit more reflective, but these early ones typically not very good. And also, guys, just we're a little bit early on the rankings here because the cornerbacks have not been released yet. So these rosters, the overall grade is correct, but we do not see what Darby and of course Patrick Surtain are going to rate, which
Well,
will.
and someone came in with 85 for a Surtain, so they've seen it. It may have been
He was a guess.
Jeremy.
It was a guess.
Oh, Jeremy Ethan, a guess. It
Ethan
made
was
it
saying
sound like that's what it was, and he was upset with it because it had the smack of my head on that one.
he was
Here it
talking
was,
about a second year
85 for
player.
Surtain. Smack your head, Scott. I didn't say 85 for Surtain, did I?
You implied it.
You're
Implied it when you second year. Had a good year at the end of the rookie season and then rated 75 instead of an 85 early in the show.
Oh yeah, that was hypothetical. That wasn't. I don't know what
Yeah.
Surtain's going to be. I was just saying
No.
that sometimes players. In this case, I was looking at Javonte Williams and I was looking at Jamar Chase earlier. That the rookies don't get that huge accelerator that they probably deserve. So if they were ranked lower and outplayed it, it's gradual. Kyle Pitts, for an example. I think Kyle Pitts is probably underranked based on his ability because they don't want to have that huge leap in their second year. So I wasn't saying that Surtain's going to be an 85. I don't know. I don't know what he was last year.
Yeah.
If, when you're looking at the roster, 85 would put him the third highest rated player on here behind Justin Simmons and Russell Wilson. That sounds about right. So, 83 to 87, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And I think
that'd probably be a little high.
Yeah, I think you're probably a little high there. But Jamar Chase not being in the top 10 for wide receiver is pretty shocking for me. Them being that low on Josh Allen too. I mean, you really have to have. You almost have to get that.
It's the age thing. You're telling them they're ageist.
Yeah.
They really they're very, very biased towards the veteran players, and so be it. It's their game.
Yep.
They're making billions on it.
The one that I will say goes against this is I think Micah Parsons was an 88. Overall, rated very highly. Now, granted, there might be a little bit of cowboy bias to that, but Parsons was great last year. I think 88 is fine, but in comparison to like Jamar Chase not being super high, or I'm guessing Patrick Surtain might be rated like a 79 or something. There's no way that they're that far apart. And we got Ethan coming in saying Pitts with an 87. So
this is an 87. I look at it more a little bit about from a pure talent standpoint. Travis Kelce, 98, George Kittle, 97, Mark Andrews, 93, Darren Waller, 91, TJ Hawkinson, 89, Kyle Pitts, 87. Okay. If you're taking those guys, does Kyle Pitts last sixth?
Maybe if it was a one game.
From a pure talent standpoint, Kyle Pitts is a different level than a couple of those guys.
Yeah. Everyone knows TJ Hawkinson's the best. Go Hawks. Nick coming in here saying better late than never. Let's go training camp right around the corner. # let's ride. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to get into that with you guys. Keeping it going here. Next few Broncos players ranked number 3 rated player on the Broncos, and it really drops off ranking wise here. Number 3 rated player for the Chiefs is Chris Jones, 91 overall. Raiders number 3 player is Chandler Jones, 90 overall. Chargers is Keenan Allen, 91 overall. Broncos 3rd rated player, Cortland Sutton at an 84 overall. I would expect him to move up a good bit this season, but that just kind of shows why the Broncos rating is so much lower than everyone else. Number 4 for the Broncos. This is one that I think is actually right on the nose here. Garrett Bowles is an 84. And then Melvin Gordon, 5th overall rated Broncos. Again, maybe a little bit biased towards the veterans here, coming in at an 83. So there's your top 5 Broncos: Simmons, Wilson, Sutton, Bowles, and Gordon.
All right, let's play the devil's advocate here. Who were your Pro Bowlers last year?
Justin Simmons. Nobody, right? Well, it should have been Justin Simmons, but nobody.
But there weren't any. Okay,
Yeah.
So when you're talking about a good roster, there's not very many holes, but according to peers in the NFL, there weren't any real superstars either. But the fact that it drops off after that and puts you at a 78 still surprises me some. And maybe that's part of their algorithm is the guys at the very top count more because they're more impactful than ham and eggers that are ranked in the 75, 80 range.
Yep.
But there weren't really any superstars last year. I think there should be more guys ranked in the 80s than 10. that are ranked the 80 or above. And Javonte Williams comes in at an 82 as the seventh highest, tied for sixth with Jerry Jeudy, who is also an 82.
Yeah. So Jerry Jeudy coming in at 6 with 82. I don't know what the general ratings average is. That's a little different. So I think Judy takes actually Javonte. I don't understand how this works exactly. But Jerry Jeudy 82, 6. Javonte Williams is 7 at 82. Kareem Jackson, like we mentioned earlier, 8th with an 81. Randy Gregory coming in at 9th with an 81, and then Tim Patrick at 10. So everybody keeps saying Tim Patrick is so underrated. Why does nobody ever talk about Tim Patrick? Tim Patrick at an 80 here, I feel is like a pretty good rating for him. Maybe he'll be a little higher by the end of the year, but to be that high, I think is a solid for him. So Tim Patrick coming in rounding out the top 10.
Of all of these guys that are ranked on here, I think the one that you hope is the most underranked based on what he does this season is number 11, Bradley Chubb at a 78.
Yep.
That's the one you want him. If you could take any of these guys and say they play 10 points higher than their ranking, Bradley Chubb. That's the one I want. If I get an 81 consistent play from Randy Gregory, I'm pretty happy. If I get a 78 out of Bradley Chubb, I'm not happy at all. If I want him to play at a level closer to Pro Bowl status, playing up in that 85, 88 type range, and earn that. He's certainly paid that way. You know, he's on his 5th year option. What's that make him? 8 figures, about $11 million this year off the top of my head. So he's being paid that way. And all of those guys, when we want to start talking about being underranked, you're hoping Bradley Chubb is the most underranked of the bunch.
Yep. 100%. I will pivot that with I think you are right that you hope Bradley Chubb is the most underranked, but I think the most underranked player on this Broncos Madden rating here is, everyone say it with me, my the most beloved player on the team. And it's not Josie Jewell. It's Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones coming in at a 75, I think is a travesty. I think I thought when I originally tried to guess what this was, I'm like, I put Draymond Jones at an 80. That's maybe underselling him a little bit for his just how he's actually getting pressure from a position, despite the linebacker play being poor, despite the edge rush play being poor, despite the offense not getting leads, having him all the way down at a 75. I mean, I understand that interior defensive line play on a bad team is not something everybody's watching, but are they watching?
You're not watching.
Yeah,
you're not watching. I mean, that's average. That's like saying you got a WAR of 0. You know, as a baseball player, we talk WAR, wins above replacement. That's basically average below average at 75. If we think that 78 is a 500 team, then 75 is actually below average. He's anything but. Wait until you see what he gets paid on the open. You know, it gets paid next year, and we'll see what the. I said that about Matt Stafford. You know, Matt Stafford has been underrated. Well, not by the people who are writing the checks for sure, because he's made a mint in the NFL and he's been paid appropriately. He just got put on a better team. So as the team improves, again, this goes for all of them. As the team improves, some of these guys will start getting more respect as individuals.
Yeah. You hope so. And that'll happen. And the bandwidth a little spotty, Nick. Yeah, well, it keeps going in and out a little bit. Hopefully it'll.
I was afraid. I wasn't sure if it was me with all the thunder and stuff going out, but it's not too bad.
Nope. Maybe you have to get a Wi-Fi extender. It's an old house, so I'm guessing that just the materials that are made, it's making it harder for I'm sitting right underneath the router, but we did get a new modem that's coming in here pretty soon, so that maybe will help as well.
If you're right underneath the router, drill a hole and run a line.
It's a rental. I don't know how they would feel about that, but
little spackle and some white paint is real easy to do. I drilled a hole in my wall, but I own it. But I drilled a hole in the closet and ran a 50-foot Cat 5 cable.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ethan coming in saying they will know Draymond Jones by the end of the year. Hopefully, I think he's the most. I agree with you, Scott, just because of the positional value aspect and the impact aspect. I mean, I think right now people have almost a unrealistic expectation on the interior defensive line because Aaron Donald is literally playing at a level that, I mean, not to show my age or anything, but I can't think of an specific interior defensive lineman that has been as dominant as Aaron Donald ever. Most of those guys kind of did a little more inside-outside kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think, going back, when Reggie White was inside, and he played end too. And I think Michael Strahan moved inside and outside, like you're saying. I think Michael Strahan was mostly a defensive tackle. before moving to end. I don't remember for sure, but he was so big. I just pictured
Yeah.
those guys as being inside for a lot of their careers. Again, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's an offense wrecker. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
He's a unicorn. The
And
other
we
two
use
guys,
that word gets thrown around too much, but when we start thinking back, okay, well, who's been as good as him as a pure interior lineman for as long as he's been? It's not easy to come up with names.
I think you maybe would have had an argument for J.J. Watt, but it's because of his injuries that just cut it too short.
And he was always end.
Yeah.
The
3-4
JJ
though.
was always an end.
Yeah. I categorize him as a little bit more of an interior defensive line just because the 3-4, but in like sub packages, he would be the edge. So you get a little bit of that. But yeah, no, I mean, if there's any player in the NFL that is a unicorn, it's probably just Aaron Donald. And also, hello, Nick. We talked about cornerbacks not being rated here. Defensive tackles are not rated also. So Draymond Jones, because he's a defensive end, Madden always has issues with the players' positions. He is rated, but we don't have DJ Jones yet. So before we get on out of here, I want to hear what your thoughts are on 3 rankings of these players. We'll do our best guess here. The 2 starting cornerbacks and DJ Jones, where they end up being ranked.
Will Ronald Darby be ranked ahead of Pat Surtain? What was Darby ranked last year?
That's a good question.
Any idea? Because it'll probably be pretty close. He may have gotten a plus or minus 1. He's probably an 83, 84 or something along those lines.
That he was a 70.
Yeah. We're losing you, Nick. Yeah, I couldn't hear what you were. I couldn't hear you.
78.
You're kind of frozen up on us. We're losing you on here. Nick types in, he says, Ronald Darby was a 78. Okay, well, Pat Surtain's going to be higher than that for sure. So I would say Ronald Darby should stay about the same. 78. I don't think he's going to move. Surtain should move up. Again, I'm going to say 83, 84 is what he'll get, because, again, he's getting a lot of preseason love, but he didn't get a lot of accolades last year. If you look for the layman who's not watching games, I'm going to look at the Pro Bowl. No. And these guys aren't watching a ton of games. They're not watching every game. And I'm going to look at PFF as a reference, and he's like the 30th cornerback in the NFL. And I'm going to say, okay, he doesn't need to be moved up too high. And DJ coming in, as a big ticket free agent from a team that has had some success in San Francisco, I think he'll probably end up being your highest ranked interior lineman. I agree with that, Jeremy, who says 83. That sounds about right.
And DJ Jones last season was not loading for me, of course, but it was a little low. So I guess my Wi-Fi is starting to kick me out here. I am. We have Wi-Fi. We have a Wi-Fi extender, but maybe you need to get another one because it's upstairs right now because it would not connect to our.
I need a drill and a 100-foot Cat 7 cable.
That would probably help a lot as well. Well, guys, we appreciate you. We're going to get on out before my Wi-Fi really decides that the show is over. So make sure you're following Scott on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at BFB_pod. And, of course, at Mile High Huddle. If you haven't done so yet, join our Facebook community at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. Be like Jeremy Sean. Go to Apple iTunes, scroll down, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. And, of course, as the ticker says below, subscribe, like, and share. And we got a big one coming in here from Ethan to close us out.
There we go. Ethan coming in 78. So that was a Ronald Darby, 78 pounds for about 178 pounds of Ronald Darby. I don't think he's probably about 185 or so. Great show, gents, in Broncos country. Take care, everyone. # Broncos for breakfast. # MHH, the closer. So thank you to you, Gregory, Mark, GLP, Corey, all y'all who came in and were supporting our show and contributed to the chat. And liked and shared. We certainly appreciate you as we head into the weekend. One more week down. That means we're one more week closer to putting the pads on.
Getting close, baby. Gotta love it. Well, guys, we are going to get on out of here. We appreciate you. I'll see you guys again Tuesday morning with Scott. Make sure you're tuning in tonight for the Huddle Up show. And you guys have a great one. Choose kindness and choose compassion. Stay cool. Go Broncos.